Gus Bradley needs to be fired immediately following this Thursday night football atrocity where the Tennessee Titans are currently beating down the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 36-8 with 3:47 left in the game. The NFL and Roger Goodell have to pull these Thursday night football games off the schedule. They're terrible, they're horrible, but that will be a subject for another day, because today, Philip Enriquez will be bringing you his Say What You Like podcast, where I will be predicting and previewing the big Sunday night football game on NBC, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. And the national media is going to paint the spotlight on these two rookie phenom quarterbacks. That's right, Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. This is what I've been wanting to talk about. Prescott versus Wentz. No. Not Prescott versus Romo. Not the two guys on the same team. Not the Dallas Cowboys. Not two Cowboys going at each other. We're not making problems where there ain't none. Let's talk about problems where there is one. And that's with these Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. So Prescott versus Wentz. Let's get into it. Prescott comes in with a 5-1 record as a starter. Wentz comes in at 4-2. Prescott is completing 69% of his passes, where Wentz comes in just at under 64%. Prescott has the edge on the yardage on the season at 1,486, while Wentz comes in at 1,324 yards. Wentz has thrown for one more touchdown than Prescott, as he's got a touchdown to interception ratio at 8-3, whereas Prescott comes in just right under him with 7 touchdowns, but only 1 interception. Quarterback ratings for Prescott, he's definitely beating Wentz at 103.9 compared to 92.7. And ESPN's favorite stat, QBR, Prescott leads the league. Not just rookies, guys. Not just rookies, but the entire NFL, which includes that guy in New England called Tom Brady. He has a QBR of 82.8, where Wentz is way down there with 54.1. Now, what's funny is everybody's looking forward to these two quarterbacks going head-to-head, but this isn't the first time we've seen that. They've actually went head-to-head at the last Senior Bowl right before the NFL draft, where, believe it or not, Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback for the North, who was coached by none other than the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff. So Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan, and the offensive staff were able to work with Wentz hands-on, one-on-one before the draft. They obviously had a very high opinion of them, as they put Carson Wentz as their number 1 quarterback in the NFL draft. So let's not get too full of ourselves, guys. Even the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff believed in Carson Wentz more than they even believed in Dak Prescott back in the Senior Bowl. So here's another funny thing, though. Once again, Prescott shows he's no slouch. Prescott, who was the starting quarterback for the South team in the Senior Bowl, he actually went on to win the game and win the Most Outstanding Player of the Game award. So in some ways, he even outshined Carson Wentz even before they had started their NFL careers. So that's something to think about. I definitely think these two quarterbacks, when you look at the stats, you use the eye test, and they're both excellent, good young quarterbacks, franchise quarterbacks. They'll be quarterbacking in this league for years to come. But I do have to give the slight edge to the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. He's just shown amazing poise, an amazing understanding of the game, and he's shown some leadership, which has been unheard of and unseen from a rookie. And based on that alone, I have to give Prescott the edge. But again, don't get me wrong, Carson Wentz is no slouch. But let's talk about a more important matchup, guys. Let's get in depth here. The national media's got the Prescott-Wentz debate covered. But the biggest matchup in this game will be in the trenches. The biggest fear I have going into this game as a Cowboys fan is on that Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. And it all begins with that one guy, Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is beasting this year. Fletcher Cox comes into this game with 22 quarterback pressures. He is not letting the quarterback get into a rhythm. If you want some evidence, take a look at last week's game. Sam Bradford had his worst game of the season, and that was in large part due to the pressure that was put on him by Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox also comes in with 4 sacks on the season. But, unlike Minnesota, Dallas just might have the answer. How, you ask? Well, All-Pro Zach Martin. Zach Martin comes into this season allowing just 4 quarterback pressures. So Dallas hopes to be able to combat that awesome defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles with arguably the best defensive line the best offensive line in the game. Now, I can see that matchup going either way. I can see Fletcher Cox actually being able to, do some damage, put some pressure on Dak in the Dallas offense. But here's where I have that bit of confidence, even if Zach doesn't get the best of this matchup, and that's you have to look at the people that line up right next to them. You got to look at them. Look at the partners in crime here. Okay, when you look at that Philadelphia D-line, Fletcher Cox lines up next to Benny Logan, who, looking at the practice reports for this week, did not participate on Wednesday nor Thursday's practice, and he's all but been ruled out for the game. Now, Benny Logan is another stud D-tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, but with him not there, that should allow Zach Martin's partner in crime, Pro Bowl center Travis Frederick, to be able to help with double teams and, chipping on Fletcher Cox, helping Zach Martin out. So hopefully Dallas will be able to control the middle, and Dak will have a clean pocket, as well as maybe some big rushing lanes for Ezekiel Elliott. And speaking of Ezekiel Elliott, he still leads the league in rushing with 703 yards with 5 touchdowns. He's done all that on 137 rushes, so he's definitely becoming the bell cow for this Dallas offense. Philadelphia Eagles also have a big-time rushing attack. They like to focus on ball control, protecting their rookie quarterback, but they do it in a little bit different manner, as they don't have a bell cow running back. They do it more running back by committee, but their top rusher is Ryan Matthews, the former San Diego Charger. He only comes in with 67 rush attempts and only 262 yards and 3 touchdowns. But then again, like I said, it's a running back by committee thing. But even so, Ezekiel Elliott himself has outrushed the entire Philadelphia Eagles team. So Dallas definitely has the superior running game. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys will win this game. It's all about who wins the battle in the trenches between Zach Martin and Fletcher Cox, which directly correlates with who's going to win the battle on the ground. And Ezekiel Elliott will take advantage of that. If you want to talk about the passing games, you have Jordan Matthews, who's a big-time threat for the Philadelphia Eagles. He comes in with 354 yards on the season to go along with his 2 touchdowns. The Dallas Cowboys leading receiver is Cole Beasley with 33 receptions, 390 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But that's not the best part, Cowboys fans. The best part is this. Cole Beasley's having, at least statistically, a better year than Jordan Matthews. But guess what, guys? Guess what? Dez is back. Dez Bryant is back healthy at 100%. So Cole Beasley's not even our best receiver in this game. We're going to have Dez Bryant out there on the field, and that is going to destroy that Philadelphia Eagles defense. Let me tell you how. Let me tell you. Malcolm Jenkins, who is their stud defensive back, he is a excellent safety. Guess what? He's going to have to come down and cover the slot receiver in Cole Beasley. And the reason for that is this. The Philadelphia Eagles slot cornerback, I believe his name is Ron Brooks, he has just suffered an injury, and he will be out for the season. So where he was the normal slot cornerback, he would normally take that matchup with Beasley. No. Now they have to take a safety and put him down in the slot. So that's going to be a big-time mismatch, because that's going to leave Dez Bryant one-on-one on the outside, while also leaving, more times than not, it's going to keep that eighth man out of the box when Zeke runs the ball. So the Dallas Cowboys offense, as long as they can keep it solid and keep the pressure off Dak in the middle of that pocket, they're going to have the big advantages on offense, especially because of these injuries. These injuries to Benny Logan and even Ron Brook, because of what that's going to do for that Eagles defense that has to compensate for those positions. Also, another thing on the other side of the ball for the Eagles is Lane Johnson was the starting right tackle, but he was suspended. So again, that's just another thing that is going to hinder the Eagles' ability to play the way that they want to play this game. But Dallas, just coming off this bye, has nothing but fresh bodies. Hell, even Tony Romo's starting to practice. The Cowboys are getting healthy at this time, and that's going to give them a big advantage. Now, I've already predicted a Dallas Cowboys win. I think this is going to be a close game. I think the stats, for as many stats as I've thrown out tonight, you can throw them out the window because this is a division rivalry game of the highest order. Basically, to recap this game, you got hardcore division rivals going at one another with two pretty much evenly matched teams going for the division crown, but one team is coming limping in with injuries and one team's coming fresh out of the bye. And that's why I'm going to stand by my 31-27 Cowboys victory.